What's going on, creators? Today we're going to be building this video editing machine. Joining me today is Francisco, a fellow creator. By the way, my name's Leo, and thank you for watching. Sometimes I get a little too overzealous with these introductions, and I forget to introduce myself. I just want you to know that this video does have a surprise twist ending, so please stay tuned all the way to the end. Tell us a little bit about your channel.
My channel is in Spanish, but it's mostly the same. We do creator stuff like unboxings. We go out and do some traveling, short traveling, but mostly it's about pop culture. I don't know. It's what I like to do.
So if you're a Spanish speaker, make sure you check out his channel. Today we're going to be building this video editing machine. I think it falls somewhere around the mid-range to upper tier category. Let's begin. The parts we chose are all specifically aimed at video editing, although this probably will work pretty good for video gaming. If you're a gamer out there, this will probably do you good as well. However, this is mainly aimed at the video editing machine. So first, we begin with the Intel i7. This is a really good. The i5 is also really good for the 13th gen. However, I figured for just a few dollars more, I'd go ahead and future-proof a little bit by going with this bad boy that has more cores and it's a little bit faster. So we chose this, the i7. Next up, we chose to cool that i7. You know, first you buy the house, then you buy the insurance. So we chose the Peerless Assassin 120 in white. We're doing a little bit of a black and white theme with this. You know, some NWO, some Stormtrooper vibes maybe. I don't know. I don't really care much about the looks. I don't care about much about the looks here with this build. It's mainly aimed at the lowest price I could get it, while it has the highest performance I could get as well. So, Peerless Assassin, this is pretty good. Usually a really, really great value. In terms of value, it's typically aimed at, ranked at about number 1. There's, I think, 2 or 3 coolers are just perform slightly better than this one. Air coolers. And so you might be wondering, why did you go with an air cooler as opposed to a water cooler? Yeah. Right. Well, I'm the type of guy that doesn't want to be fiddling around every so often with maintenance on the computer. So I chose this over a water cooler and having to go through that whole thing every 5 or so years where I change out the coolant within the cooler. So that's why I went with good old air cooling. So this is probably going to be a little louder in terms of the fans kicking in here and there when it gets hot, but it's something I'm willing to live with.
It's the Assassin.
Yes, the Peerless Assassin. So we went with that. And up next, the other most important component with the 4070 Ti. I know there's a little bit of controversy with the 4070 series, but hey, I went ahead and got this anyway. I was able to find it in white, so this is the white version of the Galax 4070 Ti. So from what I hear, it's pretty good. It's all about the CUDA cores when it comes to video editing, whether you're using DaVinci Resolve or Adobe Premiere. This should be working pretty good. Motherboard. I used the creator's motherboard, the Z690 Aero G from Gigabyte, and this comes with a few benefits regarding anything that's creator related, because it comes with some extra ports in case you want to use one of those special art tablets. This has a port that you can directly plug in and it powers on, or as well as a bunch of heat sinks on the motherboard. Particularly, that's what I kind of fell in love with. Most people will say that this version does not have the 10 gigabyte Ethernet. So if you're operating off of a NAS system for your video editing needs, I recommend then the next one up, the Aero D, not the Aero G. The Aero D does come with a 10 gigabyte Ethernet connector if you're operating that, but for my personal necessity, I don't need that. I probably saved $100 because I don't need that. Although in the future, if I want to upgrade to having one of those, that upgrade is about $100 more or less to do that. So I can still have it. It's an option in the future if I want to.
How many hard drives?
So good thing you mentioned the hard drives, because I ended up going with the Samsung 980 Pros.
SSDs.
This is a 1 terabyte and this is a 2 terabyte. The way the workflow is going to be is that my operating system and apps are all going to be running off of the 1 terabyte. That's maybe a little bit of overkill. However, the price between a 500 gigabyte version of this is probably $5. So for $5 more, I just decided to go with the 1 terabyte version.
With the 1 terabyte.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Plus, it's a little bit of future proofing as well. And then for my content, my video projects that I'm working on, they're all going to be stored on the 2 terabyte. And the Samsung 980 Pros have a reputation for being really fast. But more than anything, the reason why I got them is because they have a reputation for being very stable and very reliable, which is key.
That's what you need.
Essential. I've had hard drives kill my projects in the past, and that's a big no-no. No, it destroys your soul like it did to mine.
Yeah, and that's why he's bitter now.
Yes. No.
He's not.
Up next with memory, I went with 64 gigabytes. So 2 sticks at 32 gigs each. And I went with the Corsair Vengeance DDR5. And this one, I believe it's running at 5600 megahertz. At least that's what's on the box. So we'll be working with that. This is another one that's has a reputation for being very stable, being very good.
That's
and
what you want.
A lot of people don't like these because of the looks. They're very plain looking. They're just a black stick. However, I don't care about looks with this. I just want the best bang for the buck. So here we go with that. Another Corsair product over here, I went with the RM850X high performance gold rated power supply.
Gold rated.
Yes, and it has a 10-year warranty, so that tells me right away that if they're willing to stick with their product for 10 years, then it's probably a pretty good product. Very stable. Plus Corsair, they've been in the game for quite a bit,
they know their stuff. Yeah,
I kind of trust them, you know. And for the cases, I mean the case fans, this is a brand new fan that just came out from Arctic. It's a very plain in the way it looks, very basic, you know, fan.
Black fan.
However, it ramps up to I believe it's 3,300 RPM at its highest speed. And from what I hear, they're supposed to be pretty quiet. We're about to find out for ourselves. Some other people say that they're not not as quiet as they say, because there's a little bit of a pitch issue with that. But we'll see. We'll find out. So these are the Arctic P12 Max fans. I got 4 of them. And right here, you know, one thing that I found out about almost every motherboard that's been released in the past couple of years has had an issue with the latch system that latches the CPU onto the motherboard. Apparently, when you latch it on, there's some parts of the latch that apply uneven pressure, and that's what this is for. This is a plate that corrects that. So by correcting that problem, you cool down your CPU. And not only that, but it increases the lifetime of your CPU because it avoids bending the CPU, because with the heat, that uneven pressure in combination with the heat, over time the CPU begins to bend and you start having performance issues. So this is a quick little $10 fix. You can find these on Amazon. By the way, none of this video is sponsored. It's all on my dollars. So this is just hopefully in the future we'll be able to find some sponsors, but everything you're going to get, and in the upcoming weeks you might see some reviews up for some of these particular items. It's going to be 100% honest and unbiased because I sponsored it.
Exactly. We're gonna know if it's worth it.
The case we got has an adapter port for a USB 10 gigabyte and it's a USB-C port, and it requires the additional purchase of this adapter in order to make that USB-C usable. So, hey, well, we're on that topic. Probably the biggest part here. I'll show you right now the case.
Oh, she's good. Let's move this out of the way.
Case is right here. You could see the box, but let's just get this
huge.
thing out of the way here. And I went with a budget case. Hopefully we won't have budget results, but actually this has gotten some really nice reviews right here, as you can see right there. You see that? So that's the Fractal Design 2. Is it? Design 2? Focus 2. The Fractal Focus 2.
Oh, I like all the ports up here.
Yeah. So that's the Fractal Focus 2, and it's a pretty neat looking case. It has a little bit of a Stormtrooper vibe to it. And last but not least, this one is 18 terabytes of hard disk space.
Ah, that's the storage.
That's the archive storage, not the working storage. So once you're done with a project, here it is. Once you're finished with a project,
10 terabytes?
It's 18 terabytes.
Oh, the biggest hard drive I have is 8 terabytes, bro.
Oh, well.
that just wants me to get one right now.
Well, as I tell you, I'm trying to future-proof. I don't like buying computers very often. Like, I know there's nothing wrong with it, but me personally, I'd rather just have something good and
that's gonna work,
and have it be reliable and stable and working for a very long time. So future-proofing a little bit by getting a little bit extra. This is the Western Digital Red Pro.
Ooh.
So it's a little bit loud. It's a mechanical drive, but this Pro version is very stable. There's also another version that comes after this, but they use this for servers and for all that stuff. So I think that's overkill for what I'm doing. So sticking with this, that's pretty good. Moments later. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment of truth.
Did you flip it up? Yeah. Well, do you turn it over there?
Oh, well, of course. I knew that, right?
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
It was at this moment that I realized that I was going to be in for a long night of troubleshooting. Francisco and I began the troubleshooting process. First, we made sure all the cables were in the proper place and properly seated. Then we looked around for any anomalies, and no, everything seemed like it was properly placed. We made sure that it was getting proper power. A lot more troubleshooting steps after that. Francisco had to leave, and I continued troubleshooting. But then we chatted online, and we ended up coming to the conclusion that it was most likely going to be either a power supply unit problem or a motherboard issue. I replaced the power supply. That wasn't it. And then, later on, I replaced the motherboard. And what you are about to see is that new build with a new motherboard. hope you've liked this video today. I know I enjoyed making it for you. Please subscribe to my channel if you like content like this. There is a lot more to come in the near future. My name's Leo, and thank you for watching Creators Tech. Technology for creators.